Hi, everybody. I'm Candid Frank. He's Gary Groob, and our very special guest is Eric Perroni, and he is a Hall of Fame defenseman and coach. Eric, thanks for joining us on the program.
No problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, Eric, give us your story on how you picked up a stick.
I picked up the stick. My mother and our neighbor, they decided that they had two kids, two boys, and we had two boys, and we only needed something to do. And I guess they talked to somebody else, and we decided we're going to play lacrosse just down the street, Gerard Road, Meyer Lacrosse. 7 years old, signed up, went down, had no idea what we were doing. Came back with a skinned knee after the first time, but that didn't stop me. I was ready to go again the next week.
Awesome.
What kept you in the game? What
kept me in the game? I just loved the hitting, the running, the shooting. It was fun. It was something to do every day. Like, we enjoyed playing road hockey and baseball in the backyard. Lacrosse was our organized thing we played. And I enjoyed the friends that I met, the people, the places we went, things like that.
Absolutely. Gary.
Who were the early influences that shaped you as a player?
Who are my early influences? Well, my earliest ones were my first coach that I can remember, Pete Burns, a guy who told the parents that just keep feeding those kids the raw hamburger and they'll be good to go. And then the next one was Bud Kernahan. He was more about knowing more about lacrosse, going from there, organizing. He took us to our team. We played in 1975. We won the Canadian National B Championship. I was lucky enough to play on that team. 2 years after that, Whitby and Gerard Road amalgamated. And then my coach was Elmer Tran. I'm sure you guys have heard of him. Yep. There's a guy who taught me many, many things about lacrosse. Not just that you needed to be a big kid running people over. He goes, you know how to play. Use that. Use the size. Use the skill. Put it all together.
Right. Now, being part of the Whitby squad, successful as all can be, still to this day, what do you think separates that program from some of the other programs? Because it's been so successful for so many years.
I think the fact that we have good minor systems around us. We have Clarington, we have Whitby, we have West Durham. We also have guys who come back and coach again. Like, you've had Derek Keenan, Sean Williams. I can't remember who the coach is right now. Coming to mind. He's an NLL player, right?
Yeah, Gavin Prout is in there now.
What's that?
Gavin Prout, part of this system.
Oh no, that's the Brooklyn organization. Okay, the Whitby Junior Ray I was talking about.
At the moment, I'm not sure, but Sean Williams was
Is it Mitch Wild?
Mitch Wild, yep, that's another. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And they had a good, successful year. But I mean, the fact is that it's a good organization and everything's well run. And players come back and coach again.
Right. Now, you won, I believe it was 3 Minto Cups with them. Is there a favorite that stands out in your mind of these championships, do you think?
I'd probably say that 85, after, like, 80 was I was only 16 years old. I was the youngest guy on the team. I only played every other shift when we didn't have a power play or a penalty to kill.
Right.
But in 84, we had a lot of, we had John Fusco, Kevin Van Sickle, Gary Crawford, Dale Kernahan. We had lots of great guys. Then they left. And the fact that we were able to put together a great team and win again in '85 was phenomenal for me. Like, I mean, we had Joe Noondike, but he was a couple of years younger than I am. But still, he played in '84 too. It's just the fact that we lost 6 guys, let's say, and then we're able to come back and still win again.
Right. Let's talk about that. Talk about Nieuwendyk and some of the other players in there that just help make this thing such a family unit, really, to this day. Because even watching you guys at the President's Cup, you guys still get along famously.
We still get along, which?
Famously, you guys get along very well.
Oh, yeah. It was a great team atmosphere. There was nobody. It seemed like always with somebody if there it wasn't good, that guy was sent packing.
Right.
And that never happened that I remember, but everybody tried to find their place and contribute the way they could. And we did all get along great.
Right. Now, you built your career up as being an elite defender, being a big, tough defender. Was it really in Whitby where you started finding your footwork that this is what I'm going to be and this is how I'm going to do it?
I'm not going to. The truth is that when I started playing, we were always playing offense and defense.
Right.
Even in 1980, 1984, 1985, we didn't like that. I mean, Peter Vipond and Neil Armstrong, they didn't like that game plan.
Right.
You lost your transition game if you changed all your players all the time, right? So I'm not going to say that because I scored lots of goals, so it's not like I couldn't score a goal. But I had to learn how to only play defense, and if there was an opportunity, sure, take the transition, no problem. But some teams we played against in senior, some guys never even they didn't even know how to play offense.
Right.
But I can't remember. Some of the guys called them like pizza delivery boys. That's all they carried it like this, right? They didn't even know how to. I mean, we were all over those guys. The minute they touched the ball, go on them,
right,
because they didn't know what to do with it. They knew how to
right,
check, and that's it.
Right. Guys like Dave Durante always come back, and we've been on the show talking about how we used to be the fastest game on 2 feet because we played both ways. And now that we're specialized, we've lost that, and it becomes more predictable now that they're going to pull up and wait for offense to come on. Do you agree with that situation and that analysis?
Yeah, I do think it slows it down a bit. I do, but I do see them cheating off the bench a lot. That they try to, they make up for that. I think that if 3 guys want to run up the floor and 2 guys change, that's great. If the other team should have to keep up, you know what? Don't slow it down for them. If they have to cheat off the bench, they should get a penalty.
Right. It's funny because Wayne Cawley, when he was on, he was talking about that too. Is we don't need more rules. We actually need to just enforce the rules that we have.
Yeah,
and if they're not in that square, they're not coming on just yet.
Right. Exactly. And it sucks for the guys who are busting their butt trying to make a transition play, and the other guys cheating off the bench and stopping them.
Right.
I don't think that's fair at all.
No, I agree. I'm a big proponent actually of the two-way game. I wish we could get back to it. Six Nations has given us a little bit of that because they've had so much talent recently that you can't really put a guy like a Dane Smith and just keep him in defense. But so they actually started running lines again in the last couple of Man Cups. But I wish that we could get more back to the style when you guys were playing.
Yeah, I would enjoy that. Yeah, I wish they would say, no, you have to do that, or just even try it. But I do know there are some guys that can't check.
Right.
I'd be the first one running at that guy with the ball, being like, no, this guy doesn't know what to do. So.
Yeah, and they stand out like a sore thumb very quickly. Right. Now, when you moved up to Brooklyn and the senior squad, really, what were the biggest adjustments after coming from junior? A lot of the guys that I've talked to coming from junior into senior are like, wow, the speed. Was that the issue, or is it just just you guys went up all together and away you went?
I had no issue with it because I had played some senior when I was in junior, and I was always big. Let's say when I was 16 years old, I was 6 feet tall and 185 pounds.
Right.
So I never had an issue. And when I played senior, there was always guys playing with Brooklyn I knew who they just said, Eric, just go out there and play like you normally would. And don't back down from anybody. But I do see for a lot of guys, the difference is you're now playing against men. You're not the big fish in the little pond. You're the little fish in the big pond.
Right. Right. Now, this was in the era for Brooklyn lacrosse. You guys won 4 or 5-man cups in that little era there of 15 years. What do you think separates that era from, say, now? Is it just money from the top teams, or is it more to it than that?
There is money from the top teams. That's a big issue. I mean, I know that we don't have that kind of money because of the vice president of the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club. So I know that we don't have that kind of money. And I wish we could fill the place up and we have that kind of money. We could compete on a level playing ground. But back then, our minor system and like our junior A draft picks and the guys who had played before were always phenomenal with Brooklyn. We had a great squad and you had guys like Bob Vesey and always making sure we had guys and good players, Peter Vipon controlling the whole situation, Elmer teaching guys what they should be doing. We had a great system, and we still have a great system. We just don't have the money.
Right.
Everybody wants to, I made, I don't know how much they make in the NLL. I made $30,000 playing in the NLL. I need to make some money. I don't play for free.
Right.
So we try to accommodate somewhat, but we don't have $30,000 for each player.
No, of course not. Of course not.
Nope.
I love summer ball. I absolutely adore it compared to, say, NLL or some of the other stuff that we watch. And I wish that there was a way that we could get more people to see it, that they will fall in love with it too. Do you see any way that we could bring it back to some of the days that we had way back where the house was full? We talked about that earlier, is a full house. Even watching in the President's Cup, when the Iroquois Park is full, it's an electric building. It really is a great place to play. And the sound captures in there, singing in there too, has really got a great echo in there. But it comes full circle in there, and players get up for the game. To watch it empty, it's just like, wow, we got such great lacrosse, and it's I wish we could just show it.
Yeah. I remember all those days, middle cups, band cups at Iroquois Park. I can remember playing against Brampton in senior, and people were sitting on the stairs, and the fire department just said that no more people can come in. No, stop.
Right.
And it was a great night. This Firewolves thing in Oshawa, it may help us out.
Right.
It may introduce a whole new group of people that have never seen lacrosse that just suddenly decide, it's professional lacrosse. Let's go check it out, right?
Right.
Well, when they realize that in the summertime, I can go see the same guys play just down the street. And the price is a little bit cheaper. It's not the same hoopla, but it is great lacrosse. So maybe those new people, that's the one thing I would say, new people that we need to get coming out to the game. That's how we're going to fill the stadium again.
Right. I look at a couple of things actually, and of course advertising at the Firewolves games, of course, and selling the whole thing. And the other thing is that it's much more approachable than NLL. You can meet up with your favorite players afterwards much easier than in an NLL situation. So to have that personal touch and make sure that people know that, I think is a big thing. And of course, the biggest thing, of course, is market to the kids. and summer ball and bring here. And I don't know if it's fiscally smart, but to discount it for kids under 12. So, it's already inexpensive, but just to make sure that people know, because once you get the kid, well, they're going to bring mom and dad, brother, sister.
For sure. They're not just dropping their 12-year-old off at the arena.
Right.
Yeah, we already do have that where, you know what, a lot of people don't know that kids are free. Just the parents have to play and pay, and the teenagers, you know, but the kids are free. We used to do, they had to wear their game jersey and come to the game, but now it's just all kids get in for free. Because some parent had to bring them, and some parent may start to really like it, and some parent may tell his friend. And you know, we've tried a lot of things recently. Now Brooklyn, now we have a bar again. We have turf. We have air conditioning. So you know, and we have a great team. So
and a great place to play. Just an absolutely stellar place to play.
Yeah,
there's not a bad seat in there. Like it's wonderful to watch.
Yeah,
and it's accessible. You can easily get to it off the 401, off the highway. So it's not something that's like, oh my God, I can't find this place. It's easy to get.
You can take the GO train,
right,
and walk across the street.
It's amazing. It's amazing. That's been my always been scratching my head on these things. Is why can't we get? I realize it's summertime. I realize that people want to be outdoors and things and put it into an arena, but to set aside a Wednesday night to take the family out and enjoy, great lacrosse. The same players you're paying 50, 80, $100 to watch in the winter, you're watching for $10 in the summer. To me, that's a steal.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think a lot of an issue too with lacrosse players, parents and stuff. These kids are going to tournaments. They're playing field lacrosse in the spring, and they're going to tournaments there. And then they're starting their box lacrosse. They're going to tournaments there. Then they're playing on club teams like Edge and Evolve and stuff like that. They're going to other tournaments. So sometimes I think what happens is the parents are just like, my goodness, we have a night off. I just want to stay home.
Yeah, I can see that too. But the OLA Festival draws a ton of people in there.
Yep.
And I know that you guys work hard at getting it marketed and getting it through those 2 weeks are just nuts. It's to keep them coming and get them there beforehand. And I don't know if it's to try and hand schedules out or try and whatever, just to make it the party for the adult, but the wide-eyed thing for the kids. I have no idea if it's bring back guys like you, some of the other alumni that are in booths and whatever, just to meet and talk. And I'm sure the clinics and things like that also work, just to keep them, get them that they want to be at the rink all the time.
Right. They start to know who the players are. That's a big thing, I think, is they know who the players are. They connect with them. They want to come. They see them. They meet them after the game. Boy, I need to come back next week. That's what we need to do.
Right. Because I know that just for an example, in San Diego, Cam Holding, he does that. He works with all the youth players, and he's developed such a rapport that these kids, they don't talk so much about the team itself, but they talk about him individually. So they're really invested with him as a coach and as a mentor. That's I remember when I was growing up, and we knew the certain guys that we just you didn't want to disappoint. We said we're going to be there, we're going to be there. And I think nowadays everything is more it's regimented and everything is in, out, and all over the place. But that the old school idea, I think, really, and the ideal really works. And I think that would be a huge push forward, I think.
Well, we're trying for that. It's just, a lot of guys are rushing in to get there, and then they're rushing in to leave. We don't have time to hang around. I know NLL teams are the same way. They go on a road trip, and they don't have time to, have a beer and enjoy themselves on a road game. Oh no, we got to get to the airport, and we're leaving.
Right.
It takes away from the fun of it, and it takes away for the opportunity for kids to meet them. I know that's not your home team, but it's always nice to meet other players, have a few minutes and chat with them.
Yeah, because who knows on what level to touch a kid, and that sparks that passion for the game, and it
Exactly.
could just be a general meeting of it. I love it, and that's why I love seeing all the alumni around. Brampton does it now again. Brooklyn does it. Peterborough does it, and they've done it for many years. So much so that pregame and postgame are almost as important as the game itself there.
Well, yeah.
In fact, I think pregame is actually more important than the game there, and watching
I would
everybody.
love for us to have more of our alumni come to the games, and I mean, I've seen it where fans come. Oh, I remember watching you guys play. I'm such a big fan, and are you guys going to be here next week? I'm going to bring my friend, and we're going to. He'd be happy to see you guys.
Right.
But life gets in the way sometimes. Everybody's busy.
Right. Now, you played for a long time. What was the biggest thing that kept you motivated and competitive through all those years?
Just that I felt that I was good enough, and sometimes I felt like, oh, this is going to be my last year, and I'm going to quit. That's it. And then I feel at the end like, oh no, I still contribute. I still play, and I feel I'm still a good part of this team.
Right.
So, and I enjoy. Hey, I loved our team. I loved the guys. We always had a great time. We always had fun. We always had parties during the summertime. And so that's a big thing too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you've got to enjoy your surroundings to really enjoy everything about it.
We used to do the bus trips. That was a blast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, leadership. I always love asking the older guys about it because it's a whole different meaning than what it is now. What does leadership mean to you when it comes to an organization, a team, and all of that?
You got to have it on all levels, like management, coaching, players, training staff, equipment. Everybody's got to, like, there's got to be a leader you got to have, like, the period one guy who's in charge of everything, but he's making sure those next guys are all looking after their own categories, right? And you got to have a good core group of players that are leaders. That keeps your team together. If some guys deciding, what I do is way more important than what you do. Well, somebody, Johnny Fusco has to go over there and say, listen, that's not the way we roll. Okay. That's not how we win. You got to be part of a team, and you got to do whatever you got to do. So for me, leadership is huge.
Right. I think it was Derek Keenan who put it there, that it was, he was always looking for character, not characters, to fit in with the squad.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you know what kind of character this guy's got. Not.
Yeah. What's the show that comes along with him? Yeah.
There's a lot of characters out there.
There's more and more all the time.
Yeah.
Which becomes distractions, which takes away from programs, which takes away from teams, and which puts diversions. And it's great if there's nothing going on, but when you guys are talented, like Brooklyn has been for so many years, and gladly I see that they're coming back to it. And I love what Gavin's doing in that regard, is that, like what you guys did and played for the front of the jersey, not the back of the jersey. That's back now, and you're playing for the Brooklyn on the front, not the name on the back.
Exactly. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, right. It's not suddenly I need to get 20 goals because it's all about me. It's about our team. It's not, at the end of the year, it's not how many goals did you get. It's about where did we finish up.
Yeah. Now we just watched that with the Jays, and showing what camaraderie and stuff like that can do. But I watched it in the summer. I watched it this past summer with Brooklyn. And I watched them almost take down Peterborough, and should have taken down Peterborough, honestly. An injury here and a bad break over there, kind of the same thing, really. But that team, from what it was at the beginning of the season to what it was in the playoffs, was two different animals altogether. And that one that finished off, I really hope is the team that starts next year, because it really had something there. And, character, yes, it had heart, it had everything that what we talk about, and an example for what we want to see the kids to do, right? To play again for the front of the jersey, not the back of the jersey, to care for one another and all the rest of it. And you could see it off the floor, but you could see it on the floor as well.
Oh yeah, it's if they had a little bit more time to get together, that's the big thing. I think sometimes it's the rush in, rush out. I mean, guys come to the game a lot sooner, earlier than they used to, so they have the time before. But it's always afterward. It's people are way more conscious now. We can't have 10 beers and go home. We need to,
Yeah.
have a quick beer, a sandwich, and got to get out of here. I got to work tomorrow. And where, we used to be very close knit, like everybody was close together. A lot of guys from in Whitby, Brooklyn, and some of the other guys would just say, no, you could just stay at my house and, you don't need to go home. We're going to have another game in 2 nights.
Right.
If they had a little bit more time together, I think that would help them a bit more.
Right. And also, I think, again, when we're coming back to our thing with the fans, I would allow them to be there longer, to have more meetings with the fans. I loved in the President's Cup with the lawn thing after the games, and amazing how many people would come up and start talking to old-timers, alumni, or, us media folk or whatever else. And just the conversations were amazing because it kind of varied between yesteryear, what just happened, and then thoughts. And it just becomes a regular, like you've known somebody for 15 years in the span of 15 minutes. And we miss that because we're in such a hurry to go everywhere. And then sometimes you just have to stop and actually take a little, look around and just see what's out there. And I think that would do us so much good, and the game itself too.
Right, and maybe that's the thing too, is if we schedule that time after every game to allow, like, guys, let's have 15 minutes. Go in the dressing room, throw off your gloves, helmets, come back out, talk to the kids, and then, they can relate to you later on. They're going to remember you. The same thing as you said with the President's Cup 20 years down the road. They're going to say, I remember I saw that guy play, or I'm going to meet you in the hallway. Like, you met me. I remember I watched you as a kid. You were the kid. I was the player.
I guarantee, even, when they're watching NLL on TSN over the winter, and the ones they met at President's Cup, they're going to be, I saw him. I got to talk to him. Like, it's the littlest of the things, but that sparks that interest. And if we're all gearing it towards the youth, because that, number one, they're going to grow into adults with their kids too, and get that love there. But number two, we can get them and their families now. And, that sparks 2 times 2 times 2. And
exactly.
We're going to have to build it from the ground out again, because there's a number of organizations, unless they're called Peterborough, that have trouble with attendance. And, I really think that we're onto something here, and to build, I think with the right little things here, and the having you as vice president of Brooklyn, I think is a great thing, because you know what both sides were, and you have the patient attitude that we'll try this, okay, we can try that, and to work within and see what works, see what doesn't, and take the best out of all of it and try and build it. And, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen, say, next summer, all of a sudden it's a full house. But 5 years down the road, probably it can be, a substantial enough crowd that it becomes a home floor advantage again.
Yeah, hopefully that happens. Right. It's just like you say, trying this, trying that, whatever works. This worked, that didn't work. Okay, well, you got to try.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You guys already are ahead of the game, because you have a lot of merch sales too, and spend a lot of time making sure that the logo, the team, all of that is out there. And say a testament is, I have a bunch of Redmond stuff, and I have a bunch of other Brooklyn lacrosse stuff and merchant stuff and other things around. And it's when I wear it, I can elicit a lot of I remember when, and other things like that, retro nights and things like that, to try and bring back more of the I remember when people.
That's right. I think we sold off I think we're done with all the Redmond stuff we have. Pretty well run out of that stuff. Now we're on the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club. Sometimes I do find it a problem when I'm going out to get sponsors. People don't know who the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club is,
Right.
and they have to say, well, it used to be the Brooklyn Redmen. Whoa, what do you mean? And I'm like, oh, don't, don't start.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
no, I understand the headache it becomes on that one too, because it's almost like you're trying to push a new brand
Right.
on and
Right.
trying to.
We're the same thing, but you just changed the name.
Yeah, we're the same. We are, and we're all part of it still. You know,
The problem is branding is a thing.
Oh yes, for sure. Yeah, and you know what? We've talked about maybe getting a new brand. That maybe the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club just doesn't hit it for a lot of people. With possibly getting a new name. Where you haven't, done it for sure, but we thought about it. But then it would be starting over again, right?
right.
I had to take an emergency, so I didn't get a chance to hear whether you guys reviewed why the Redmen, the name disappeared.
Well, it was a politically correct thing, but
so it's strictly because of the name.
Yeah, I kind of wondered if I know the Indigenous head, I think we could have got rid of that and just been called the Redmen. Well, we're just guys with red uniforms on. But
well, isn't that the way the original thing? Isn't that how the name came about originally? It was guys wearing red uniforms. They were called the Red Men.
I think so.
That is, as far as I remember my Brooklyn history, that was the initial thing. Later came the logo, and that was the big taboo thing. But the name Redmen just because the uniforms were red. I really believe that was what was explained to me at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, guys. I just wanted to I didn't want to assume.
No. And
but so, I also I think is a good opportunity. Again, we're talking about the Firewolves games. If you do decide to rename, open it up to the public for the name.
Oh yes, that's for sure. We're doing that.
Use the Firewolves and their games to get that interest. Where if you can work in tandem with them, that gets put out at the games throughout the season. We're going to be, doing this, and every home game, please put it to this whatever website or whatever. Just put your thing in, and of course you're going to cross off, a good chunk of it. But there's going to be a name or two that sticks out.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought. At some point in time, right? It's just because that one, bang, that's the one,
right? And if you can get it from an extra 7,000 or 8,000 people week in and week out for 20 weeks, there's going to be a name there or two names or something that you continually see that seems to be in the area that people want to, because again, you also have to be area sensitive for where you are, and see how it works that way, and then the huge the ad campaign of publicity of the name is this, the name is that, I had talked to Oliver Marty when they first brought the Firewolves there, and said what he needs to do, and it's just very simple, is your star Dyson Williams, who's from there, put him in front of the arena, put Firewolves players, whether they're cartoon characters or regular players, on the side of your billboard, but with a big thing in front, especially in the summer when it was white hot. Even people who didn't know anything about lacrosse were talking about it, and I just would use two words: shop local. And then, Oshawa Firewolves season tickets, this. Leave that for a month downtown Oshawa, then change it to another billboard with more information, but have people talking and let them do your marketing for you, because word of mouth, let them all be chatting. And the same thing I think would work if you did this with a name and a rebranding. That way the rebranding isn't a shock to the community. It is actually something that they're part of, which would make them embrace it more.
Exactly. I mean, we're trying to work with the minor, Whitby Minor, Clarington Minor. We're trying to establish that contact and bring that back together. And same thing with Whitby Junior A. We want to be,
right.
all these people, you know what, you want to go see Whippy Junior A, you want to see us, like all these kids are watching lacrosse. Like sooner or later, they're going to come to a Brooklyn Lacrosse Club. They're going to come to Whippy Junior A. So,
Absolutely, I think it's a great it's a can't miss thing. Once you put in the equation, it's getting the kids there. Going into coaching, what turned you into? Yeah, I want to coach. I want to give back, and I want to do all this stuff, and I want to be that mentor that I had growing up.
I watched the guy coach, John Phillips. I don't know if you know John, but he coached my oldest son the first year he played, or the second year. I'm not sure what it was, but it was on a rep team, and he did a great job. It was organized. It was all planned out. He did a fantastic job, and I thought, I'd like to do that. I think I can do that. And so when he moved up, his son was a year older than Adam. When he moved up, I stepped into that role. I applied for the team and went from there. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed going out with the kids, and I enjoyed that the best. Just me and the boys in the dressing room, and me, the assistant coach, and the boys, deciding what we're going to do, how our game's going to go, and having the good moments of winning and the bad moments of losing, but doing it together as a team.
Right.
And
I often wonder, is like, how do you balance modern day lacrosse with the old school values that you had back then? Because you can't really go straight with that, but you can get a nice mix.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that for me was the kids couldn't play offense, defense. They weren't allowed to do that. So that was pretty simple. And I love my old guys were like 5 guys going up, 5 guys coming back, 5 guys changing, right? And, sure, there was guys who were better than other guys, but they tried to make it even for everybody. But like old school values, I maybe not lost what you're thinking about for that. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was all team. We're a team. That's
right. See, that leads into the other question. What do you try and instill in the young players now when you're coaching?
One thing is when your coach is telling you something, you need to listen to what he's saying. We all need to be on the same page. Guys, listen up. Let's all be on the same page. And you have to go home and you have to find a wall somewhere, and you have to work with your stick. You can't just show up for an hour and then go home, throw your stick under your bed and forget about it and expect to be better. The ones that got better were the ones that work with their stick all the time. I've seen lots of players that weren't the best players on their team growing up, but they continually worked and they learned that was their thing. They always worked, always got better. Where some of the kids that were the best just sat on it and they didn't get any better. Right.
Now you had a chance to actually coach your son, and with the Rochester Bats. Now Mike Cooper's an old friend of mine. I have a real affinity for the Bats, and I've done stuff out in Rochester and things like that for his other games and fundraisers and little fun games. But let's talk about Laxney. And of course, you were coaching for their first of the 2 championships here, or 2 or 3.
I think that I think they've won 3. I only.
Yeah, you didn't coach this last one for other commitments, but the other 2, I think you were there behind the bench.
No, I was. They won, and then we lost. When my first year I coached, that was the U.S. White and blue team.
Right.
We lost that year, and my second year we won. In the third year, other commitments, I couldn't do it.
Right. Let's talk about that. Well, Adam's a big part of that thing as well, and basically following Dad's footsteps only on the offensive realm. And he's also part of the Brooklyn dynasty in here now. And what was it like having him and coaching him?
Well, it was a lot different than coaching him as a kid. Like, you mean now or earlier?
Yeah. Well, now as
Well,
opposed to
now it's a lot different. He's grown up and he's learned a lot of things, and he understands uh, what it takes for teams to win, right? He's played on teams that didn't win. He's played on teams that have won. He knows the big difference is everybody being on the same page.
right.
But I really enjoyed that. He pulled me into that, introduced me to Coop, and it's a fun team. When you coach those guys, so you kind of just you're not really telling them what to do. You're just kind of guiding them along.
Right.
Maybe we don't need to do that, guys. Maybe we're not going to win if we do that. Let's try this.
Right.
The situation with that tournament too is everybody's out to make a good impression because they're all basically, it's an NLL stage. Everybody, they're watching.
Right. I also think it's because it's set up a lot like the Rebesky tournament is you can't have a slow start because the games are short. So if you're down quickly, that may be too daunting to try and come back, and that's your tournament. So it's a whole different strategy, and you can't dilly-dally to start. You need to go right for the jugular to begin.
Yeah, it does help to do that. And if one end of if your goaltending or your defense or your scoring is not on, well, guess what? And I don't think that if you lose a game that you can go to the finals unless everybody loses a game. That's the really hard part.
Yeah, well, your destiny is in your own hands for at least the first game, anyways.
Yeah, and it's always good to have we have a game, everybody shows up, and then we go out afterward, and we have a good time.
Right. Well, the other thing too, what Mike had brought up on the show, on the Sunday show, he's been on a number of times, was when you win, you get a dressing room for the next year, so you don't have to lug your equipment all over the place and things like that. Back and forth. You can just actually go and just enjoy the rest of it and not have to worry about carrying everything.
Because the first year I coached, that's what happened. The year before they had won, we had a dressing room. All the guys were happy. It was great. And the next year we lost.
Yeah.
These guys were lugging their stuff around. They were not happy at all. It's a big thing. It's a big bonus for sure.
Right. Absolutely. That's a great little incentive. If you need to find even more incentive, that's a great incentive as a player. I don't have to carry all this stuff around all over the place.
Let's be honest. You're a grown man. You three guys sharing a room, dragging your stinky stuff back to the room, or it's in the car. Holy cow! Like, who wants that?
Exactly. All right, let's talk about Hall of Fame. You've actually been in 3 of them now with Whitby, with the Ontario, and with the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fames. That's a huge accomplishment. It's funny because, when I was talking with some of the people, they actually talk about their hometown Hall of Fames almost in the same breath as the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame because of working so hard in that area. Is it the same with you?
To be honest, right now, I'm only in as a team member, but it is a big accomplishment for me because this is my hometown. That, more people in Whitby know me than I mean, I know lots of people in Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame, or Canadian Lacrosse and Ontario Lacrosse, but not as many people as I know in Whitby.
Right. Getting the call that you're inducted in the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame, what does that feel like?
Well, the first one I got was from the Ontario Hall of Fame,
right.
And it was Derek Keenan. And I know Derek quite well, and
right.
also I own my own auto repair shop, and Derek was a customer. So when Derek called me, I'm like, "Yeah, what's up? Hey, I just want to be the one to give you the good news that you got inducted into the Ontario Lacrosse Hall of Fame." And I was like, "Wow, you're kidding me?" And he goes, "No, I'm not kidding." And I was like, "Wow, I must have played with a lot of good players." And I know I did. That was the one big bonus for me. I got to play with a lot of great players, and I learned from them.
Right.
I'm not going to say I was as good as them, but I learned a lot from them.
Right. No, I think you sell yourself short. I think you're modest because I think that you had a huge part to do with a lot of it. Winners win. And when you take a look at three Minto Cups, yeah, you were only a bit on the first one, but to be in the heart of it for two of those, and then you take a look at the amount of Man Cups you win, that's not a fluke. That has to do with, again, we talk about character, and just talking to you and listening to your way of digesting it and being able to analyze it and perform it. I think it's a lot more than just, well, I was with some great players. That may work if you're there for a year or two. Through 16 years, I think that no, it's more that the cream rises to the top. I think that there's a reason why all these other lacrosse people go, he's the guy, we want him in.
Yeah. No, thanks. But it's it was a big surprise, and the Canadian, and I didn't even know. And the funny part is, I don't know if you knew Larry Power.
Mm-hmm. And Whopper, yeah.
Yeah. So he, after games at times, he would always say, "Eric, you should be in the Lacrosse Hall of Fame." And I go, "Oh, well, I mean, there's lots of people that should be in the Lacrosse Hall of Fame that probably aren't." And
right.
And then I found out later on that he put my name in.
Wow.
And before he passed, he was in a nursing home in Bowmanville. And I went to see him and thank him for that. And oh, no problem, man. You need to be. I'm going to nominate somebody else now. He said, "There's lots of guys in Whitby that aren't in the Hall of Fame."
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. And then the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame. I got a call from. I believe it was Brad Joseph at the time. He called me, and I didn't even know. He goes, "Well, you're automatically nominated because you're in the Ontario Lacrosse Hall of Fame." And he goes, and then you go across. He says to me, "Oh, I go across your resume, and I see all these things, and you check all these boxes. So, congratulations, you're in the Hall of Fame." Wow, thanks. Really, it's a big honor.
Absolutely. But I think that you carry that honor very well. And it's guys like you is why the game is such a great thing and why the community is such a great thing. Because that's what, in my eyes, sets it apart from every other sport, is the people involved in lacrosse from way back as well as now is the best community that I know from all other sports that I've been part of as well. That this is, it's such a tight-knit community, widespread, even Europe, and just to have it all together. When something goes down is really important. Everybody comes together. Doesn't matter from what walk of life, and they help. And it's the only place that I know that is to that degree is the lacrosse community.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. You know what? We all compete against each other, but when the chips are down or things need to be done, well, we can all call on each other, and we'll all contribute.
Absolutely.
The family lives.
Mm-hmm. Box lacrosse continues to grow internationally. Where do you see this sport heading down the road a little bit? Is it like hockey, where if we're not paying too much attention to the Europeans, that pretty soon they're
right? Exactly. They're gonna get better. There's a lot of teams, right? I mean, it's not like right. You always look at it at some point in time that, like when they had that Four Nation Cup, I think it was called, that you expected it to be USA, Canada, but there's Finland and Sweden. You don't forget about them.
Mm-hmm.
If you forget about them, they're going to knock you off, and they're going to the finals.
Right.
So I think that's going to happen. I mean, box lacrosse, I know is big. And for men, for sure. Women, I don't know at all, but these things are picking up, right?
Yeah. Women is still Canada, US, but they now have in all these other places teams, and they're learning, and they have North American coaching. So they're going to learn the style, and they're going to, just like the men. I keep going back to the Rebeski tournament because I've been going there for a number of years now, and just to watch the Czech team, and watching the Polish team and a few of the other teams, and watching each year as they make monumental gains. The Czech team is just outrageous to watch. They play a different style, which usually for the first little while, kind of crosses up the North American teams because we're used to a set style that we're playing. But they have their own, panache in the way they do it. And now they have their coaching and they have enough players and they have the kids. And the kids are out there and they're wearing their favorite jerseys of whichever in there. And
they have great crowds there too at the games.
Oh, yeah. When Raditon's playing, you get 2,000 people there. And it is just the whole town stops. Everything stops. And it's loud and it's boisterous and they're into it. And let's say the kids, when they're doing the clinics and watching all the little kids come out. And, English is not a language out there, but everybody understands what they're doing. And when you got the guys from the team showing them, they all gravitate and they all are doing it. The language lacrosse. It's the most amazing thing to watch this, and over a number of years to watch it grow and get bigger and bigger. This tournament now, from being something was kind of a fringe thing, I say it's one of the for a world lacrosse idea, it's probably the closest thing you're getting to it now, because everybody wants to be there. Everybody wants to say they've played there.
Yeah, so, and do they have a women's division and everything?
Yeah, and they have the week after or whatever. So, but it's not quite at where it is, but it's only been there for 3 years now, the women. So, but from what they've done in each of the 3 years has been astounding to watch. And all their, just to watch the Worlds and see, the women, they stole the show with the Worlds. Everybody came in to watch the guys, and more they gravitated to where the women were. In fact, I would say their gold medal game stole the show. It was a made for TV Hollywood edition. U.S. coming back from behind and winning on U.S. soil. It's another one of those 1980 moments, really.
Well, that was the Utica one, you mean?
Yeah. But to have that kind of echelon from, the first day of who are these people to the, a week and a half, 2 weeks later, everybody glued to their set or glued to the arena to watch the gold medal game between Canada and U.S. women. I had all of their people on the show. I had Dana Dobie. I've had Emily Harris Chuck and all the rest of the Canada U.S. and to talk about all the trials and tribulations and the euphoria of finally being there and making it there. And it was wonderful to listen to. And you want energy and you want that oomph that that the game's in the right hands. So you just have to listen to them. And I think that they're going to make a lot of noise in the next Worlds because they're still pushing. And U.S. Boxla really is starting to get behind them. So, again, Canada needs to, get their ducks in a row. Because Lacrosse Canada, you just have to rip here.
They keep working on it, though. I mean, they've I know firsthand from experience, I mean, the women's they've changed. They're working to getting around to getting together more often, to play together more often, with even against each other, like top 40 players, stuff like that, so that they get more opportunity to try rather than just throw them together. Let's go. We're going to the World Championships. Get out there now.
Right. Well, the more they get out there and the more they're able to do it, it really is amazing to watch them just gel. And some of the other places like the Netherlands, Poland, and some of the ones that didn't do as well. But it was funny because the one thing I noticed at the Worlds was that Canada and the U.S. It wasn't just we're the Canadians, we're the Americans. No, they took all these guys under their wings, and they would talk with them. They would answer questions. They would show things. They would do things, and it is again, community comes to mind, and together each achieves more, that team thing. And it's just for the whole thing. Everybody knows that they're on the cusp of something really great. And if they work together, everybody wins.
Exactly. You know what? If more people are watching, we all win. If it's more competitive, if people want to watch every single game, not just Canada, US, we all win.
Eric, what do you see as the best way to attract the attention and the eyes of people? What should we be pushing more that maybe we're not right now?
Hmm. I think they should just show more live action commercials. Like showing some goals, showing some saves, and just quickly, you could come see this. I just think sometimes they think that they're just going to say their name, the Bandits. I mean, they're filling the place anyway. They don't need to worry about it. I mean, some of the other teams just say, "Oh, we have lacrosse." So show the action, show the speed, show all the teams have cheerleaders and there's stuff going on all the time during a game. If people could see that the stuff is going on, this isn't just lacrosse and stop play. It's like a lacrosse entertainment. We got stuff going on halftime. But I do think that the goals and the saves and some big hits will bring people out. I mean, people watch hockey and still, I think a lot of people still want to just go see fights. I mean,
right. Yeah. I remember what Jamie used to do with the Toronto Rock is before the games, he would put like a 2-minute clip of the last game and the highlights of, the action, the goals, the diving, the fans. Yeah. And I remember telling him is all you need to do is get a video editor to take any 30-second clip out of that 2-minute thing, make that your commercial, put that on television. And at the end, just your number, tickets, that's it. Because you have everything in there.
Interesting enough, I looked yesterday to buy Firewalls tickets. And because they just started selling the single tickets. So I looked and they only have standing room. That's it. There's no seats.
That's a good news.
That's great news. That's something I've been saying for forever. That's what we've been saying since we had the Commissioner Sakavitz on. Is that's the right area because of all of the nominations around there between Peterborough, Cobourg, Whitby, Brooklyn. I
guess, and the everything aligned because Toronto's now at Hamilton, so I guess it's not really affecting them, right? It's not. If they were Toronto, I don't think you could have a team in Oshawa, right?
Well, I had this specific conversation with the commissioner. Now that they've gone to Hamilton, why wouldn't you want that? That would be the one place that I've always, as Gary knows, it's the one place I've promoted for a team because of it's lacrosse. It's not like you have to build anything because every other lacrosse franchise the NLL puts in, they're building lacrosse in that community. You've got a ready-made community already.
Exactly, and you've got lots of places. There's all surrounding communities.
But I think they were a little afraid of offending, well, anyway, you didn't want to give the impression that you were encroaching, right?
Right.
And that caused a little bit of fear of even talking about expansion to Peterborough or Oshawa or whatever, right?
Oh, yeah. And it's like, I think people now is it used to be able to get on the GO train and go to the Scotiabank center and you watch the game right now. Well, it's not so easy to go train to Hamilton,
right?
You can, right? But it's not the same thing. So, and now suddenly we're here. Let's hope both franchises both do well. That's what I would like to see. I mean,
and they will because of each other. I think they will because of each other. It helps build rivalries. Rivalries mean a lot in sport.
Right. I can drive to Hamilton. If it was a great game in Oshawa, well, certainly I'm going to drive to Hamilton and watch the next game.
I'm in the best of both worlds because I'm 70 kilometers away from the Hamilton game. I'm 60 kilometers away from the Oshawa game. And, my car will be getting a lot of kilometers because I can't get enough. I can't get enough lacrosse, and I'll keep driving right through to Buffalo, and I'll keep driving right through to Rochester, and I'll keep, it's just like my summer where every night I'm in a different city. But
if you love the game, and there's nothing in sports that's better than live action, and I think to what you're talking about, Eric, as far as showing the goals and showing this and showing that, what you're saying is let them see what they're going to see. What keeps them on the edge of their seat.
Exactly. Why? Yeah, this is why you want to come. I mean, I like this. TSN has their, is it Saturday? I don't know if it's Friday or Saturday night. They have
Friday
Friday.
night.
And once the CFL has finished their Friday night football, then they start with the lacrosse, National Lacrosse League. Like just putting one game on a week. Don't put every game on. If you want to watch every game, then you can buy the NLL subscription, whatever you want. But I mean, suddenly, I just got to see two great teams playing. Like, and there's somebody playing 50 kilometers down the road, and I can go to a live game. That sounds like a great idea.
Well, it was necessary because they've got to get on the radar. And Gary, you can talk about this, negotiating the internet. Not everybody, is capable of negotiating the internet, right? And it's not just about age. It's about just negotiating the internet. It's much easier. I know it's for people like me. It's definitely much easier just to grab the remote and go.
Exactly. Right? Let's watch the game on TSN.
Yeah. I look at it this way: is that a bar?
And that's the other thing right there. Without the remote, you can't see it in the bar because none of the bars stream stuff. When you go to a bar, they don't stream; they take what's on TV.
Right. If they can just leave TSN on, and all of a sudden it comes on, and I've seen it, or all of a sudden all the heads slowly turn and watch. I've done it with a laptop. I've done it with
everybody's watching
game on there, and slowly there's people all over my shoulders watching this game because they gravitate to a great game. And this way, bar owners can just put it on, and there it is. You can't do that with the internet. Try and tell somebody who's never seen a game. It's great if just for $5, okay. But if it's on there and it's your linear game, bang.
It has to be easy. It has to be easy for the staff at a bar.
You're right. It has to be easy.
If it's done that and put it on ABC, and they had their championship game on a Sunday afternoon against NFL and had the biggest numbers they ever had.
Which was that in the PLL?
Yeah, that was this year. That was this year's championship game had more eyes than it's ever had before, and it was on Sunday afternoon in September against the NFL. That's astounding to me. There's something there.
Great. Right.
It's a bit of what you said, Eric, and Gary, it's always been the same thing we've talked about, that you've talked about, and that is you got to figure out a way to get people's eyeballs on the game, because we all believe that if you get the eyeballs on the game, people will gravitate to it. Maybe not every single person. That's why, and I don't mean to bring in a whole new thing, that's why it's important with what's going on in the Olympics, right? Because people are going to see it who've never seen it before. Right. and capturing new eyeballs, right? And so the problem with lacrosse isn't that it isn't a good game. That's not the problem. The problem is it just doesn't get traction because we can't seem to find the right people to watch it. Do you know what I mean? People are interested in who find that kind of game interesting.
Right. How do we find those people that want to come and will keep coming? Because they are out there.
They are. And there's more than we think. They just need an opportunity to know.
We did it with Brooklyn. We had Rogers was doing all our home games were on Rogers, Cable 10, whatever it is, anywhere else. And it was free.
Right.
But for us, that, Peterborough said that worked for them. People saw it and they wanted to come to the game. So, we went along with that. And it was just like, well, I don't know if maybe some people just sit at home. And I said, well, first of all, some people just want to have a beer, right? Well, we didn't have beer. I'm not making that the be all end all, but just one thing. And we didn't have air conditioning. Well, we have air conditioning now. We have a carpet. We have air conditioning. We have beer. And it's like, you know what? Oh my God! I love lacrosse. And I went and I remember years ago I used to go. Oh, I just saw John Fuska and Gilbert Noondike. I remember we used to watch them 20 years ago. That was incredible. I did,
Eric. I did Toronto Beaches lacrosse. I was a play-by-play guy for Toronto Beaches lacrosse for 10 years on Rogers, on Cable 10, like you said. and it's the same thing. People watched it and went, wow, that's a good game. A lot of people, just don't want to, I shouldn't say don't want to leave the house, but it's much easier to sit back in the couch and like you said, have a beer, not go out drinking at a game, but just to relax. Some people have a beer to relax, and the comforts of home get you to the game. If there are no comforts of home at the game, nobody's going to go.
Right.
Because now you're watching it. I don't want to say under duress, but you're watching it in a way that's not any fun. And nothing speaks to that issue more than what we're seeing in sports. You look what the Blue Jays did in the outfield. They're turning it into your living room. Right. That's the way sports are. People want it to be part of their night. They're going out. They want more than just to see the game. And that's another thing that the NLL has to figure out. And that's what lacrosse has to figure out. How can you make it a night out? How can you make it an event more than just a game?
Right. And it's bringing every kind of lacrosse that's out there. You try to get people to come watch. They come watch. And then they say, gee, I like lacrosse. And they say, well, gee, there's all kinds of other lacrosse around here. You can see, you can see Brooklyn. You can see Whitby. You can see Junior C, you can see Oshawa Firewolves. Boom.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why anybody's ever thought of not thought of creating I know you do it on the internet, but you know how TV has specialty channels? Like if there was a lacrosse channel, I don't know what it costs to put something like that together. They constantly just show, you turn to that channel and all you see is lacrosse.
Yeah. I know there's when my daughter was at Louisville, I could watch her there. And when she played with Team Canada, I could watch her on World Lacrosse. It's all available. All you have to do is
find it.
Log in. Bang. And sometimes it's free, but like you said, Frank, sometimes it's not that easy. But once you do it, you figured it out. Now suddenly it's easy.
Right. I want to end with this: is when people think about Eric Perroni years from now, what do you want to be remembered for?
A guy who was dedicated to the sport. He loved it as a kid. He grew up. He won championships, and he came back. He coached. His kids played, and he always enjoyed it and helped out where he could.
And he had a really nice beard.
Absolutely. I really want to thank you for taking the time out and talking with us about everything lacrosse, from your playing days, your coaching days, from your executive years now, and all the things in between, and getting your take on the State of the Union as well. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for doing this.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Our pleasure.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I guess this ends another version of NLL Talk. Always talking about lacrosse, all lacrosse all the time. And, of course, our guest has been Eric Perroni. Gary Groob, Candid Frank, say have a great week. And don't forget, we'll be back again at 4 o'clock next Thursday. Thanks for watching, everybody.